Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. Let's continue setting up our oil production. I need some pipe and chemical factories, chemical plants rather. I checked some numbers that I had calculated previously, and I think we need 4 chemical plants making light oil to solid fuel, or I'm sorry, heavy oil to solid fuel, and 8 making light oil to solid fuel in order to prevent those things from backing up. Those are the ratios I came up with. So we'll start by setting up those 12. And then we'll go from there. All right, so we've set up our oil jacks. We have some pipes. I think when we change to advanced later, I think water goes on the top. So I'm going to set this up so that we have the crude coming in on the bottom of these inputs. Okay. And then, as we've done in the past, we'll do 3 on petroleum, 2, and then 1. So that we can tie all of these outputs together using the underground pipes. Okay, and then I'll set up 3 sets of 4 tanks each. Yeah, we'll do that one as light oil and heavy oil. Actually, let me move this. I set that up a little differently than the other ones. Is that right? 2. Yeah, it should be like I feel like the spacing here is a little bit off. Okay, well, I guess it doesn't matter too much. Okay, and then I'll connect those. There. All right, so now we set up the chemical processing. Just clear away some of these trees first. We haven't cut down a lot of trees lately, so I've been kind of missing it, as I'm sure you have. There we go. Okay, so let's see here. I want 8 of these, turning light oil into solid fuel. So I think I'll just do 2 rows of 4. And we'll run a belt down the middle. And since these are all together, we can just hook them up like this. And then I want to run another pipe to the other side. Let's see what would be the best way to do that. Yeah, I think like that. Whoops. Okay. But I think I'd like these to only well, yeah, you know, I'm thinking that at some point I'm going to want to use light oil for some other purpose, like flamethrower fuel, for example. So I'm just trying to think of how we could prevent this from using up all the light oil and prioritize it in some way. And we could probably use a power switch or something like that. We'll figure it out. Anyway, this has a processing time of 5 seconds. So a yellow inserter should do the trick. And we just need to get some power in here. That should work. I'll put in a couple of lights as well. There we go. Okay. And then for heavy, again, I need 4 processing units. Now these won't. I also want to make lubricant, and I want to prioritize the production of lubricant over the production of solid fuel. So that's something that I'll have to figure out here as well. But for now, I will just hook this up. And I need to get some more inserters and some more pipe. So let's go grab some of that stuff. Work my way through these trees here. I should probably set that to 2. I'll set that to 2 slots each. Oh, I need inserters too. Almost forgot. There we go. And then we'll run that solid fuel down to our power production and smelting. This solid fuel here, I don't really feel the need to try to save it for rockets, because we're going to be doing our rockets in the other part of the factory, or the new factory. Okay. So we get that solid fuel running. All right, so let's figure out where we can run that solid fuel line to get the most use. Right now we have all of our coal down here, and then that is splitting off to smelting. Or, I'm sorry, we have separate coal. Where's this going to? Okay, yeah, so that's for power, and that's for smelting. So I think I would like to use the solid fuel first for electricity and use whatever's left over for smelting. So if we bring that solid fuel line down here, then we can run it down to the steam boilers. And then I think we could figure out a way to split it off to split off the excess to the smelting area as well. And we can even put in some logic to use the solid fuel instead of coal whenever it's available. We'll see what we can work out once we get it run down here. All right, let's see. Now I want that to go over there. All right, so first let's jump over here, clear out some more trees, which we enjoy to do so much. Yeah, and I'll just run a path down here through these trees. And I promise we'll get to blue science eventually. We're not in a hurry. Is there a tree there? No, just missed my mouse click. Okay. And so we can do that kind of thing. And that'll feed solid fuel into there for fuel production. Oh, these are all mined out. That's why we've only got coal on one side of the belt. That's interesting. Okay. So how can we do this here? Here, let me try. Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, so like I mentioned, I would like to set this up so that we only use coal when we don't have solid fuel. So I think we can do that by setting up a network, let's say between this belt and that belt. Okay. So we'll set this one to read the belt contents only. And I want it to hold. So as long as there are items on the belt, it's going to send a signal. And then this one, I want it to be enabled only when solid fuel is less than 1. Right? So that way, as long as there's solid fuel, the solid fuel will flow through. And if there is no solid fuel, then that will enable this belt and it will allow the coal to go through. Okay. And that seems to be working. Let's try something here. Yeah, so even if I take coal from here, solid fuel goes through. Cool. And then if the solid fuel runs out, theoretically the coal will start to flow through. Let's see if that works. Yep, and there it goes. Cool. So that was pretty simple. And I probably need more coal miners at some point. But we're not using that much power yet, so I think we're still okay. All right, now let me... How can I incorporate this now into the smelting? I think if I run this belt over and connect it up there, we can achieve the same effect in the smelting area. So just jump over to this side so we don't run across our coal patch. And then we'll run that belt up this way. Whoops. And I'm bad at going in a straight line, apparently. Okay, and it looks like we've got one branch for iron and one for copper. So what I'm going to do is move that splitter up a bit. Like that. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing here. So I'm just going to make a red wire. And then once you connect those two belts, it creates a circuit network. And again, this one we want to read the contents only. We don't want to enable or disable it. We just want to see if there's anything on the belt. We want it to hold. And this one we want to enable when solid fuel is less than 1. All right, so let's see if that's working. And it appears to be. Okay, good. So in this way, we will preferentially use solid fuel until it runs out. And after that, we will use coal. And that should help to keep our oil tanks empty. Well, unless we're not using the solid fuel fast enough. Okay, so that's the other issue that we might have. Actually, for sure we will have that problem if we don't use it fast enough. And it doesn't look like we are using it fast enough. So what can we do about that? I think the only thing we could do about that is to buffer it. But that's only going to get us so far. I don't think buffering is really the solution. We'll just have to get the research so that we can get up to cracking as soon as possible. Okay, so what do we need to do next? We need to make some lubricant. And I think 2 of these making lubricant should be more than sufficient. So we'll set up lubricant production here. Hook that up to the heavy oil tank. And I'll set up 4 tanks to buffer that. like so. So for a while at least, that'll be burning off the extra heavy oil that we have. And then, like I said, I'd like to make some flamethrower ammo. For that, it looks like we also need iron plate. So I wonder if we can, yeah, we can easily get some iron plate up here. So let me set up a couple of these chemical factories to make flamethrower ammo. And I will just put those over here. Let's make another one of those guys. Okay, and we'll put a box in between. Now all these boxes that you see me put everywhere, these are all eventually going to be replaced with provider chests, and these will all be part of our logistics network, just in case you were wondering about that. Okay, that's 3 seconds, so yellow inserters will be fine. Okay, we need to feed these with heavy oil and light oil. So heavy oil we can get from here. And light oil we can get from up here. Oops. Okay, and then we need to bring up some iron plate. I guess I'll just use yellow belts for that. Don't think we'll be using a ton of it. But I'll just, well no, I don't want to pull it off of that line. I will pull it from this line. And I ran out of belts. There. Okay, let me go grab some more belts. And then we'll get that set up. I wonder if I can make a flamethrower. Yes, I can. Now I've seen some videos of the flamethrowers in action, and I gotta say they are pretty damn impressive. They do a ton of damage, and it looks like they're really good for taking out worms and biter nests. Like you just hit them with a little bit of fire and they just continue to burn until they're dead. So I'm planning to use those flamethrowers for taking out biter bases. Okay, and these need 5 iron plate every 3 seconds. So yeah, with our stack bonuses, I think 1 yellow should be enough. Nope, looks like we're gonna need blue ones. Okay, so that'll help to consume some of the oil as well. Let's try that flamethrower out. Cool. Uh-oh, it's damaging my pipe. Gotta be careful. See, now it burned the tree, but the tree is still there. So I think I mentioned in another video that flamethrowers don't actually destroy all the trees, which is why I don't really favor them for tree clearing. Okay, so we've got flamethrowers, we've got some oil processing, we got solid fuel. We're starting to accumulate some petroleum. light oil and heavy oil are not collecting too drastically. We're building up some lubricant, which we'll be able to use to make blue belts. And it looks like our oil supply is keeping up with production so far. So I think we're in good shape for now. So in the next episode, we will get to work on batteries and plastic. And I'm thinking that I will probably just make those over here. Let's take a look at ingredients. Batteries need iron and copper plate, as well as the sulfuric acid. Plastic needs coal. So I think we could probably just make all that up in this area without having to pump those chemicals too far. Eventually we'll need to get the acid down there for blue circuits, but for now I think we can just produce it all up here. We can bring in some copper, and we can use this iron line to go with the sulfuric acid. So that'll be coming next. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.